Gotcha. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today we're going to be getting into episodes 813 and 814 of One Piece. Hope y'all are having a good week. Mentioned it in my last Naruto reaction, but this past weekend I had a pretty good time. I went to like orchestra symphony for Naruto specifically. They had like the show on in the background, and they had like a live orchestra and whatnot, singers, etc. It was so cool. It made me think, I was like, if they have something like this for One Piece, I definitely need to go and go to an event for that, because the soundtrack for One Piece is incredible. So I'm gonna be on the lookout. I'll let y'all know if I can find something for that, but I bet there is. I know I've seen other ones for like Attack on Titan and Lord of the Rings, all the big symphonic shows or movies and whatnot. So let's go and recap the character grades from last time. We gave MVP to I still don't know his name. It's like Monter or something, the book guy. MVP because that book power is overpowered. Also really cool too with kind of how he imprisons people in the books themselves, which kind of leads us to our best moment, which was we gave that to Big Mama as she's kind of showing Sanji's father and his siblings, the Vinsmokes, all the different like collections she has. Very, very interesting power, and kind of seeing kind of more Big Mama and what she likes. And for the funniest moment, we gave it to that homie that was a pot going boil, 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 boil as they're about to cook carrot up into some stewed rabbit. Silly, man. Always a fever dream in this arc so far. But yeah, I think with that said, we can probably just go ahead and get into this. But before that, if y'all are interested, check out the Patreon in the link below if you want any early access, uncut reactions. Would love to have you there. But if not, appreciate y'all just being here to watch some One Piece with me. Let's go and get into it. Big Mama.
調子に乗るな。つい最近新世界入りしたばかりのルーキーが。
ルーキーや。
変しようなぞ。おこがましい。
Come on, he deserves it. He made it this far.
サンジのことをきれいに諦めれば殺さずに返してやる。ふざけんな。
Yeah, that goes against all of Luffy's being, man. She looks so crazy, dude. Scary. Creepy.
そうだ。お前覚えてるかい？俺に収めるはずのお菓子を食っちまったお前は。ネプチューン王からもらった宝を。俺たち今いっぱい財宝持ってっからよ。
I need all these reminders. See, I'm trying to remember that. What was it?
巨人島に代々伝わる伝説の宝箱。玉手箱だよ。
Can't say I remember this, to be honest.
まさに国宝ってやつだ。一体何が入っているのか。俺は宝箱が大好き。
Who doesn't?
だからあのお菓子の件。
Call it an even trade.
玉手箱も明日のお茶会でみんなの前で開けるのさ。楽しみだ。
She's so interesting, so childlike in a lot of ways.
時に娘。そういやお前、ローラを殺したって？
何言ってんの？ローラは友達よ。ビブルカードは友情の証にもらったの。
ああ。
ローラは元気でやってた。これが伝言。伝えたわよ。
I mean, I would even say as far as, hey, I actually rescued your daughter. She had her shadow stolen.
ビブルカードを見せればきっと助けてくれるってローラは。
ふざけんじゃねえよ。
She pissed. Mama. Mama, mama.
元気でなくて結構だよ。死ねよ。居場所を知ってんなら教えな。
Damn.
すぐに殺し屋を送り込み消してやる。
Jeez.
親の心こしらずとはこういうことだろう。過去最大の政略結婚を蹴って逃げたバカ娘。
Man. Interesting arc, man. A lot of parent-child dynamics here.
もしもあの時あいつさえ黙って結婚して
Yeah, that's exactly what you would have wanted. Now I'm curious on who the person was.
カイドウも赤髪も白ひげさえもぶっ
Ooh.
潰して
Jeez, who was it?
今頃は
Kill the
海
pirates.
賊王になってたんだ。
I wonder if Luffy's gonna say something right now. But who could it possibly be that, like, would have helped her defeat everyone?
泥棒猫ナミ吐いてもらうよ。あいつの居場所。
Kind of confused because I feel like we saw her in this arc, didn't we? Or maybe that was her sister or something? I don't know. When they were transporting Sanji. Yeah.
結婚しなかったのがローラだろ。海賊王になってねえのがお前だろ。ただそれだけだ。もう一度喧嘩売ってやれ。四皇だからってふんぞり返ってんじゃねえ。三時は必ず取り返す。
Let's go. Sure, Big Mama's not used to that shit either. Boom. It's gonna be Nami Swan. Fuck. Fuck. It's probably always gonna be Sanji. Bet Sanji's cigarette intake has increased tenfold in this arc. The bunny with two swords, bro. Yeah, they got the shit on lock. Y'all are cooks. Let's go. Good shit, Pedro. Dang. Oh, nice. That's smooth. Light it with the sig, dude. Damn, strong door though. Good job.
卵男爵侵入者です。虎のミーク族
Boom,
現
bono.
れました。
違うジャガーだ
我々では手に負えません。
God, the snails are some of the best parts of One Piece.
扉を開けろ。
お待ちください
She's
スムー
freaking
ジー様
huge.
私は警備のために呼ばれたのだろう。外の方が面白そうだ。
お待ちください
Playing right into their hands, smoothie.
ペドロめダメだダメだルフィたちは助けてもらえるビッグマムと約束した俺が結婚さえすりゃバラティエも無事
Oh, so stressed. Yeah, dude.
仲間たちと別れるのはもちろん辛いが誰も知らねえそれが一番
What about you, man? Because of yourself.
こんな暗い顔してちゃ唯一の希望プリンちゃんを追い込んじまう。あの子を不安にさせたら俺は最低のあんなにいい顔からしませるな。いつもの俺になる。俺は恋するカッププリンちゃんプリンチュワー
He's losing it, y'all. Yeah, man, I don't like how Sanji's just thinking of everyone else except for himself, what he wants.
ところでプリン様、昨日お決めになったドレス、ママが却下に。ママが決めたドレスを明日はお召しください。
God, she's fucking mama, dude. She's such a fucking bitch. Sorry, I'm getting angry. So selfish, it's insane.
プリン様、お庭はまだ雨が。プリン様。
プリン、俺の言う通りに生きれば間違いない。お前はまるでお人形だね、プリン。
Dressing her up like a doll.
何も殺されやしないわよ。親子だもの。自分の結婚くらい自分で決めるわ。
Damn, look how much younger Lola looks there.
ガキが口だけは一人前だね。まあいいよ。今日はね、たわごとの一つや。明日の楽しみに比べりゃね。
おい待てビッグママ。おい兄者たちよろしく。
What the hell?
アンゴレどうしたファ
宝のお部屋に新人寝台よろしく。
新入社アング
売り急歯磨かねえんでよろしく。
バロバロ
What the hell, dude?
お茶会だってのに
問題ないだろう。卵が警備している。
ママの耳に入ったら大ごとになるぞ。
Yeah, she's gonna really lose it then.
怒らねえのママ。
あんな小僧に喧嘩売られたくらいでかい。
Here we go. Another sing along.
俺はジェルマンの力と玉手箱までも手に入れて。
Man, the Tamate box, I really want to know if I just like completely forgot about that or if it's just the first time we're really hearing about it. I feel like I kind of remember the treasure, if something being along those lines, but I don't, it's too long ago at this point.
何でも許せ。明日は最高。ハッピーデー。
I'm getting more and more interested in Big Mama's character. I want to know her backstory.
宝物の間付近で侵入者が暴れていると。侵入者？
Oh no.
まさか狙いは玉手箱じゃあるめえな。何者だ。逃がすな。
And Pedro's gonna feel the wrath if he gets caught.
急げ。これ以上好きにさせるな。
さてさて海賊4校ビッグマムのお城にて始めますか。スペシャルライブ。
Oh man, here we go. About to see some sulking, maybe?
現在侵入者を捜索中。宝物の間襲撃により警備兵負傷者多数。犯人は爆薬を所持。
Yeah, Pedro came real prepared.
いたぞあいつだ。
Jeez. Jeez, dude, he is fast as hell. Petro's pretty smooth with it.
やつは今どこだ。
階を降りまして、アンバウムの3階、中庭付近です。
そいつを仕留めるのは容易ではない。狙いはポーネグリフではないのか。
どうした？
麦わらの一味の中に一人行方がわからない者がいたでそうある。ペドロはおとりだボン。
Dang, he figured it out. Ah, screw you.
扉を閉めるぞ。まずい。
Jump in there, quick. He's gonna be behind them, isn't he?
これでやつも中には。危なかった。間一髪でした。
Ooh, I wonder if he's gonna lock them out now. Yep.
なんだお前。変わった生き物だ。
Yeah, it's
どの
true.
国においても
He's a rare breed here.
ママが喜ぶ。
Mama.
隙を突かれ、宝物の間に侵入を許し、鍵をかけられた。すまな、迂闊だった。
Yeah, no shit. It's all Smoothie's fault. And the sword fighting has been pretty epic this these couple episodes. We used to get Zoro in the mix here.
ペドロさんからビッグマムの能力で人の魂を入れられた兵たち、チェス従兵さんたちはソウルでなんてちょっと待ってチューニング
Let him prepare.
そんな待ってちょっと待って
Let's go. Wait, what?
私の意味を知らねえだろ、ベイビー。
Baby. So he's able to take like the soul out of them?
ソウルキングだぜ。
Oh my. Yo.
取ってつけたようなソウルが私の執念のティアマセイの叫びの前に立ってられるはずないんだぜ、ベイビー。
What the hell?
お腹すいただろお前たち。
Same. I gotta eat some dinner, man. I wish I was at Whole Cake Island right now. I could eat me some carrot. Just kidding, y'all.
いい加減観念しな。
God, Brûlée is such a pain in the ass, man.
あの時、俺と一緒に捕まったのは偽物のキャロット。
How's she speaking
ブ
then?
ルレの能力でキャロットの姿を投影され
I
た。
thought usually they couldn't really like actually talk though. Hmm.
屋根裏にいる。
Oh. Makes more sense. I feel like they would notice that it's coming from like a higher place too. I'll suspend my disbelief. This is One Piece after all.
行くよ、ブルレ様。
今だ、キャロット。振りかぶって。
Hmm. Damn, what a throw, dude.
何やってんだいランドルフ。
おブルー様、天井裏から何者かが。
ええー、うさっこが2匹。
Why is she so surprised? You fool. No, not the boil, boil, boil. Oh no. She's about to get scalded. Oh, dude. That would hurt like shit, man. You probably get 3rd-degree burns.
ランブル。
反撃開始だ。
Yeah, against Chopper's that form in a small space like that, they're cooked, man.
この野郎出せー。おい聞いてんのかイボ頭。
うるさいわ、静かにしろ。
くそーぶっ壊してやる。
おとなしくしてるんだわ。
Is it pudding?
おお、珍しいな。どうしたプリン。
プリン。オペラ兄さん、少し中でルフィ君たちとお話をしても。
ルフィ君？ああ、構わんわ。
Bruh.
ではしおりを挟みます。
What? That is hilarious. I'm surprised they're just letting her in though. I'd be sus if I were them.
約束の海岸へ行けなかったことも本当にごめんなさい。大丈夫よ。顔を上げてね。
なんだあいつ、ひそひそと。
Exactly. That's a good question, man.
二人に伝えなきゃいけないことがあるの。実は私サンジさんにプロポーズされたの。
It's a very interesting tone right now. So confusing. I mean, I really don't buy it that Sanji actually wants to, of course, still. I mean, you could literally see it in 813. Just him, how stressed he was, and was just like trying to convince himself that this was the right thing to do, that he should be happy about it because everyone will be okay. But he's not okay. He's tricking himself, man. Lying to himself. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and get into the review section for 813 to 814 here. Good set of episodes. I had to go back and remind myself on what the Tamate box, the treasure box was. You know, I was like, what the heck is this? I literally don't remember this if like we had this mentioned, but I did some Googling. I know a little dangerous to get spoiled. Slash went back in some of the episodes, and I did remember kind of what it was after the fact. I don't really remember the specifics of like when it gets mentioned, but I do remember that, you know, we kind of get the perspective of King Neptune, and I think his like the mayor or advisor or whatever. And they were talking about how that box, I think, got given to the Straw Hats on accident, and that there was, I guess, the advisor had switched out some explosives with the actual contents, right? So it seemed, and I remember them feeling bad, but then they forwarded that to Big Mama when they had this whole, I guess, exchange with the sweets that got taken from Big Mama in Fishman Island. So definitely interesting, because Big Mama said she's going to open that up at the tea party. And so if that is true, and like I said, I don't remember all this information, but if that is true, then this is kind of a trap for Big Mama. But I don't even think like Luffy knows at this point, or, like none of them know. It's just like the fishmen that know that this kind of all got mixed up. So a little bit of like a smoking gun in this plot line here. So if she opens it up at the tea party, probably going to cause some mayhem at least. I think by far the most interesting part of these episodes was definitely the confrontation between Luffy and Big Mama, though, kind of them going back and forth. And really, once again, love how direct Luffy is here. Like, he really does not give a crap about who Big Mama is, you know, her whining about, you know, Lola's like marriage falling through and how she could be king of the pirates at this point. He's just like, those are all excuses, you know, they're not. You can tell he just doesn't take it seriously. You can tell Big Mama isn't somebody who probably can be king of the pirates based off of how she doesn't really take ownership over her mistakes here or why she isn't where she wants to be. He has no room for it. Like, I love when he calls her out. Such a hype moment. And Big Mama herself is so interested in these scenes. It's like she throws little temper tantrums. She's very childlike in a lot of ways. You know, I think it's been pretty clear throughout the arc so far, but the more I'm like watching her character, the more it's like she's almost like a little bratty kid who has certain expectations for all of her kids. And when she doesn't get what she wants, she throws a big tantrum because she's so powerful. She hurts the people around her. She also kind of does this with her kids too, right? Like, you know, we kind of get Pudding's perspective on some flashbacks with Big Mama talking to her. Like, we get the whole thing like with her not allowing Pudding to choose her dress, basically, and like, you have to use the dress that I pick. And she almost calls her, I think she says, you're like a doll, Pudding, you know, almost implying that she plays dress up with Pudding or her kids in general, almost like a kid would, right? But it makes me very curious about what her background is in general. Like, does she have some controlling parents, or was she a burden to her parents in some ways, or was she made to feel that way? This arc in general, very, very interesting how the narrative's kind of being unfolded here with both the Vinsmoke family and Sanji and Big Mama and her family. Definitely two very dysfunctional families that seem to always put the parents first and their needs versus the kids. Kind of flips the, you know, the relationship of a parent and child and what it's supposed to be with what it actually ends up being. You know, Big Mama says something specifically in these 2 episodes. She says, children don't know how indebted they are to their parents as they say. And she's talking about this in relation to Lola and how she was selfish and went on her own, went on her own path to, you know, try to choose someone that she would want to marry. And she lets this big political marriage fall through that supposedly would have allowed Big Mama to be king of the pirates. And I just think that narrative, right? Like, Big Mama saying that, and you know, it's very clear that Sanji's father also has a very similar perspective, that the kids are there for the parent, not the other way around. And you know, it makes me very curious about Big Mama particularly. Like, she's kind of has set up this whole world around her, this whole Toto land and these subordinates and these children, and are using them as pawns in certain ways just to get her own needs satisfied versus being an actual parent figure and, you know, guiding the kids for what they need, you know, fulfilling their needs or helping them fulfill their pathways. So very interesting. It definitely seems like Oda's cooking up a pretty big narrative around parent-children relationships. And it is really interesting. You know, I think a lot about parents who put their expectations on their kids, and you know, how that can quickly become a very negative thing, mental health wise, for children as they grow up, and especially as they become adults, because usually there's a tipping point where the kid's like, hey, this isn't me. I don't really want to do this thing you're trying to make me do. I think it happens a lot with athletes, for example. Parents investing a lot of resources into, you know, being in competitive leagues, and you know, the kids at first really love it, but then they lose that over time. They're like, I don't really care. And then the parents get all bitter about investing so much in their kids because they wanted them to be, you know, a professional basketball player or football player or whatever. And maybe at some point that dream was aligned, but then it kind of, you know, it gets insidious after a while when the parent, you know, unconsciously or consciously puts that pressure on their kid. And obviously in this case, it's more the extreme. You know, political marriages are probably the ultimate extreme of, you know, putting your expectations on your kids, you know, more so for yourself than for the kid. Another part that was interesting to me was kind of seeing Sanji and his, you know, really stressed out nature. You know, I made a joke about him increasing his cigarette consumption, but you literally see that he is chain smoking. He's neurotic. You can tell that he's kind of losing his edge. And Particularly it's around why he feels so unhappy. He feels so unhappy. He's like, hey, my friends will be okay. Big Mama promised. Zeph will be okay if I get married. He's laid out all of these paths for his loved ones to be okay in this situation, self-sacrificing once again. And he's like, why am I not happy? And ultimately he's looking at external factors versus himself here. So he's really invalidating his emotions. Like, he's invalidating why he wouldn't be happy when he's being forced into a marriage that, maybe it's not that he doesn't necessarily want pudding. It seems like pudding actually is that silver lining, but at the end of the day, it's not his decision. And he's having to sacrifice so many different things, like his friends, his real family, to, be pushed in this situation. So he's really having to push a lot of things down for himself to protect his family. And obviously that's not a healthy thing to do mentally. And you can see him trying to like amp himself up, kind of like jokingly, to, not let pudding down, to, be like, hey, I gotta be a gentleman. I can't, see her cry again like that. But yeah, I mean, Sanji's just so selfless in this arc, and you can kind of see it's starting to take its toll here on himself. And I'm kind of curious on how he's going to get out of this. Like, yeah, like it seems that obviously that Luffy and all of them are going to, fight for him and advocate for him. They don't care how he's being forced in this from Big Mama's point of view. But I'm curious on how Sanji's going to get over it. Like, is he going to be able to let his friends help him? Is he going to be able to be selfish for once? Selfish. I think it's interesting, people making decisions for themselves and letting others deal with the repercussions of it often is viewed as selfish. And, the word selfish, at least like how I viewed it growing up, was always like a negative thing, had negative connotations to it. If someone called you selfish, it was a bad thing. But there is some level of like being an independent and, independent person, and actually respecting what you want in your emotions. And of course, like, not, you got to consider other people, but there's some level of that where you need to be selfish, and that's a positive thing, to take care of yourself and value what you want and need. And in this case, yeah, Sanji is, I think, being really selfless to protect his loved ones, but at the same time, he's having to suffer so much. So there is some level of it where it's like, hey, I'm going to do, like, if you ask like Zeph or the Straw Hats of what they would do in this situation, I don't think Luffy would, for example, do what Sanji does and just suck it up and lie and just accept the status quo to protect his friends. He would probably be like, hey guys, this is what's going on. I'm gonna continue along my path, but y'all might be in danger. Make a decision for yourself on how you're gonna proceed. Do you want to be affiliated with me anymore or not? And obviously it's never that simple, especially with Zeph, kind of being, threatened here. But I don't know, man. Like, I don't think Sanji's necessarily handling this the right way. All right, let's go on and move on to the character ratings for MVP. I'll give it to Pedro this episode. Man, was a class act diversion. I mean, literally everything went as planned. It couldn't have ended up better than that, with Brook getting in and having not one-on-one, but facing much less people, especially with Smoothie locked out. That was huge. For the best moment, I'm gonna give that to Big Mama when she's talking with Nami and them about Lola. It just makes me super curious on like who the political marriage was supposed to be with, if she thought that she would be able to defeat Kaido and Red Hair Shanks and Whitebeard by that point, right? Like that she would be king of the pirates. It just makes me very curious on the background, the lore there. And it makes me curious just where Lola is today, And once again, kind of that whole dialogue about family, and Lola doesn't think that Big Mama would kill her, but she wants her dead, literally. And then for the funniest moment, I'll give that to Brook when he's trying to take out his guitar, and the homies are all after him, and he's like, I'm not tuned yet. Wait, I'm not tuned. And then it's just his freaking Soul King voice. All right, baby. Really funny. I'm really curious about his power though, because it seems like it separates the soul of the homies from them. I don't know if that's actually the case, or if it's more like, hey, you got a soul, you're gonna be impacted by my music kind of thing. But it kind of looked like they were getting separated. If that's the case, that's gonna be a clutch move in this arc, so we'll have to see. But yeah, I think that'll do it for these episodes. Let me know what y'all thought about these ones in the comments below, and I will catch y'all for the next set of episodes. Peace.